From our studios in Atlanta, this is CBT News. Today's show is brought to you by the Joe Verde Group. And here now, Bridget Fitzpatrick and Joe Gum.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to CBT News. Today is Friday, September 2nd. We appreciate you joining us for this pre-Labor Day weekend. I'm Joe Gum. It is Friday, so what does that mean? Well, it means we'll be taking a look back at this week here at CBT News, where we discussed several key topics and gave you plenty of sales takeaways. This week, we talked about Amazon's plan to generate advertising revenue for dealers. We also discussed a way your dealership can offer lending to customers before they even walk through the door. We also gave you strategies from auto experts on how you can make your used car department faster and more profitable. We also ask, with the industry changing, are you pushing leasing as more of an option to consumers? Now, if you missed any of these great stories this week, you can always go back right here on this site and type in the name or topic and pull it up in the search box. We have archives from the last 4 years, thousands of videos. I promise they're right there on any topic. Okay, so before we get to the great interviews we had this week, we want to give you 5 ways to drastically increase your productivity. This list comes to us from Fortune.com. Number 1, use your calendar to your advantage. Just not on your desk calendar, but maybe you have a Google Calendar on your phone. There's never an excuse not to say, hey, I didn't have a calendar of events. Number 2, plan your day in advance. That's a given, right? Number 3, perfect your morning routine. Whatever you do, continue to do it. Sometimes it says how we start our day is a great indicator on how the rest of your day is going to go. Number 4, develop a sense of urgency. And number 5, become obsessed about limiting distractions in our lives. All right, there you go, a great list. Hey, real fast, we want to take a moment to remind you about a sweet deal that you cannot pass up. For 1 week only, we are offering a huge sale to pre-registered dealers and their staff to the CBT Automotive Conference and Expo right here in Atlanta, March 7th through the 9th. We have guest speakers like Google's head of automotive, Peter Lino, New York Times bestselling author, John Acuff, and so many more. You can check out the website, cbtconferenceandexpo.com. Discounted tickets go on sale Tuesday, September 6th through September 11th. So make sure you register again for the event at cbtconferenceandexpo.com. Stay up to date with all the announcements and special pricing for the conference. Again, that's cbtconferenceandexpo.com. All right, so this week we told you about how new additions have been added to Truecar's dealer pledge. We remember that. It came out earlier this year. So, of course, we wanted to reach out to Carrie Wise, VP of Dealer Marketing, to discuss some of those changes. Take a look.
One of the things that we're doing is we're doing a regional dealer summits. We're doing that across the country in different locations, the first being Atlanta on October 11th. We're going to come to Atlanta in these different cities and bring to our dealers best practices in terms of digital marketing, sales tactics. We really want to be a partner and help our dealers maximize their success, not only on Truecar, but for non-Truecar dealers as well. Another thing that we added to the pledge was adding fees and accessories to the Truecar pricing. That was one of the pain points that we heard from dealers. What that did was it leveled the playing field when it came to pricing and really added more transparency for the consumer. And then the last thing is that one of the other major changes is that we wanted to allow our dealers really to control their marketing strategy and target zip codes that made sense in their particular region. So we added zip code targeting, allows dealers to target certain zip codes or even eliminate zip codes where leads are unlikely to close. And fourth, we're actually improving our tools. So one of the things we're doing is improving our offer tool that allows the dealer to send a VIN-based offer to consumers both on the new and used side. So those are just a couple of examples of how we're trying to go beyond the pledge and really make Truecar an easy and good place for dealers to do business.
All right, in the meantime, when it comes to engaging with customers for a life cycle, is your dealership using data as a secret weapon? And is your marketing set up with the right tools to do that? Well, Valerie Valancourt, Director of Marketing with Outsell, told us predicting in-market buyers can be tricky, and how to use tools that are more effective and simpler makes predicting consumer behavior a lot easier. So what are the big trends that you're seeing right now in automotive marketing that our dealers need to be aware of?
We're seeing a big trend in the use of analytics in their marketing efforts, as well as the need to meet consumers where they are and to communicate with them on a personalized and individualized basis.
Okay, so give us an example of how dealers can use that data that you guys deal with, their data, to personalize it and market to customers where they are in their life cycle right now.
So to give you an example of something that I recently encountered, I went shopping for a car. I knew exactly what I wanted, brought my husband with me. We knew what color, make, model, and we decided not to buy that car that day. And then within 3 hours of being home, we received an email communication from that dealership with an offer for tires.
Oh,
so
wow.
That's a great example of the dealership not utilizing their data for their marketing efforts.
Great that they sent an email, but just
Right.
the wrong information with that. Did you end up getting the tires?
We did not buy our car from that dealership
Okay,
as
gotcha.
a result.
You probably should have sent an email back and said, well, we don't need tires, but let me tell you about outsell. Okay, well, to the defense of dealers, they probably get about 50 calls a month or maybe even a week from vendors. So how does outsell sort of cut through all that noise and make a bigger or better impact?
So outsell drives more revenue for auto dealers by transforming how they engage customers and prospects throughout their life cycle. Dealers utilizing outsell's proprietary technology are tipped off when customers and prospects are ready to engage, buy, or service. Outsell's industry-leading Buyer Scout technology uses machine learning to discern in-market buyers, keeping dealers at the cutting edge.
Tell us about the results, because this is kind of a big deal.
Well, so the results, dealers are seeing a 9 to 30x return on their investment with outsell. I think that the one thing that we're doing is we're really transforming the automotive industry, because we are utilizing machine learning predictive models, which is similar to what Amazon and Facebook and Netflix are doing. So they're serving up, if you're familiar with that, when you're shopping online, and then they're making suggestions based on your behavior. So we're taking online and offline data and doing that for automotive dealers.
All right, also this week, we asked Rob Chrisman, Director of Sales Fixed Operations at Cox Automotive, if CPO is here to stay. And if so, how can your dealership differentiate between the competition, and what should your focus be as far as having a main focus? Check out what he said. Obviously, it's a really hot topic right now, with several brands setting sales records in the month of July. Why do you think CPO is so popular with dealers and consumers alike?
Well, Joe, it comes down to three things. It's the trifecta that we like to speak of. It's called TSS, trust, safety, and security. So for the consumer, they're getting trust that the vehicle's been inspected and gone through a vigorous inspection phase with repairs done to bring the vehicle to like new condition. And because of that, they also get trust in the dealership, which is a benefit to the dealer to be able to connect with the consumer at that point. For the consumer, they know they're getting a safe vehicle. A vehicle that if you want to put your wife or your daughter or your son, your significant other into, that you know that if it breaks down on the side of a road, that they're going to have options. And also the fact that right now in America, about half the people say that I can't afford a $500 emergency repair.
Right.
They have the security to know that their lifestyle is not going to change if they do have that kind of breakdown, that they have a warranty that comes with it. So for the consumer, that trust, safety, and security is absolutely critical. And because of that, the consumer has more faith in the dealership, and the dealership wins. Plus, on top of that, consumers are willing to pay more money for a certified vehicle than they would for a used vehicle.
Right.
So the dealer is able to make a little bit more money on that side. Plus, statistics also show that their turn is faster. So they're turning the vehicles faster, they're making a little more money on it, the consumers trust them, and it's a really good way to start a relationship.
Okay, so when selling CPO, what should dealers focus on?
They should absolutely focus on the value. If they look at the value proposition, then they're in a win-win situation. They need to focus to let the consumer know that the vehicle has had a thorough inspection, that it's been fixed to like new standards, that it comes with a warranty, that it's giving them peace of mind that they wouldn't ordinarily have with another used car. When they look at that, they can start merchandising a little bit differently. So their online merchandising or their offline merchandising also needs to be a little different. Today, every dealer knows about price, comments, and photos. There's not a differentiator there. So if they focus on, hey, we have these CPO vehicles, and they advertise it that way, it's another way of helping to differentiate. So they focus on the value and they focus on the differentiator, and those are two key elements that'll separate them from their competitors.
All right, we wrapped up the week by introducing you to two sisters that bought their parents' dealership and became co-owners of Hare Chevrolet in Noblesville, Indiana. But the catch is, it was January of 2008. These sisters not only survived the recession back then, but they're now thriving more than ever. Take a look at their interview.
I was all excited. Monica was stressed out, and my favorite last sentence was, "What could possibly happen?"
Right.
And then in December of 08, when GM was going bankrupt, GMAC was about to go bankrupt, etc., we learned real fast what a real life Harvard education looks like.
Exactly. And on top of that, Monica, I'm sure people were thinking, oh, yeah, right. Two women. It doesn't matter about the history of the dealership or the fact that you took it from your parents and that you should know more than other people than just someone else coming in and taking over, perfect strangers. But they're probably thinking, two women, are you kidding me? Give me a break.
Well, I think when we both started in the business, we didn't grow up necessarily thinking this is what we would do at all. We both attended business school down at Indiana University and went to work elsewhere. And I think it was about the point that we realized that this is a people business. It doesn't matter what you're selling, your services or your widgets or whatever. It's a people business, and it's business foundation. Neither one of us to this day are really what you would consider car people. You know, everyone asks what we drive. We both have two kids. We drive what's practical. Right.
That's exactly right. Okay, so Courtney, did your parents give you any advice? Was that sort of the advice they gave you about being, people and just taking care of the community right there in your town?
Yeah, I mean, I think they were all along those lines. We'd been in the business, so it wasn't anything new other than making the purchase.
Our father's line when we were sitting at the closing table was, I'm just a little bit nervous because neither one of you have really known hard times in the car business.
Wow. Okay.
Yes,
So
we got to learn that real fast.
Okay, so after you did the gulp, you both gulped. What did you do from there? Talk about some of the steps that you actually took, or that maybe some of the things you did differently, because obviously digital in the last 8 years has been a big part of the auto industry. Courtney, is that the route you sort of took?
Well, I think the first thing we wanted to do in 2008 is survive. So we learned real fast how to get rid of the unnecessary expenses. But then we dug into how can we, by 2010, things had really improved. So it was a matter of what can we do to grow this thing with different niches. There's special finance, there's digital, there's advertising. So we used all these little different segments to come together. And that's how we took it from basically in the 200s. And now we basically sell 500 plus a month.
Okay, what a great story right there. Two sisters, again, thriving, went from 200 now to 500 plus a month. Okay, so if you missed any of these stories or any other conversations we had this week, you can always go back again, a reminder, anytime, and watch them right here on demand at cbtnews.com. All right, when we come back, our sales tip of the day from Brian Pash and a rundown of our weekly shows.
When you know your new car competition better than they do, there's no competition at all. That's how Conquest works. A new car inventory management and pricing tool from the leaders in inventory management at Viato.
Hi, join me every Monday as we help managers and salespeople alike sell more cars, make more money, and have more fun doing it. Every Monday on CBT Automotive Network.
All right, it's time for our sales tip of the day. It's brought to you by Zurich, and it's from Brian Pash on the topic of maximizing marketing from OEM recalls. There's a lot of them this year. Let's take a look at what he said.
If your dealership has been impacted by a recent OEM recall, there's good news. That's right. Aside from the frustration of maybe getting the parts you need to fix the recall, this is a great marketing opportunity. You can use the new social media ownership targeting data to contact every owner in your local market, whether you sold them the car or not, and get them into your service drive. Once you have that appointment, give them the opportunity to upgrade their cars. So don't look at the recall as a problem. Look at it as a golden opportunity to increase market share and to introduce your brand to more local consumers.
Okay, so there you go. Brian says one way to connect with consumers about this type of issue is through social media. It definitely brings the opportunity for new potential customers and shows that you're proactive about reaching out to local consumers in your local community. All right, so there's a lot more going on here at the CBT Automotive Network. Every day we bring you an episode of one of our weekly shows. Beginning Monday, we bring you an episode of Straight Talk with David Lewis, as well as the Tom Stuker Show. On Tuesdays, we have our Service Center Weekly Tune-Up with Jeff Cowan. Brian Pash hosts Auto Marketing Now, and Mark Tewart hosts the show On the Mark every Wednesday right here. On Thursdays, in the meantime, we have the show Kane & Company with David Kane. On Fridays, it's F&I Today with host Becky Chernick, and Progressive Retail with our man Corey Mosley. And of course, on Saturdays, we pump you up with that big weekend of sales with Saturday Morning Sales Meeting this week with Mark Tewart. Now be sure after today's newscast to check out Car Biz Today magazine right here on the site so you can get more insight from industry experts and insiders. And while you're online, don't forget to connect with us on social media for more CBT news, highlights of our shows, interviews, and so much more. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Hey, I'm Joe Gum. Make it a great Labor Day weekend. We'll see you back here on Monday. Take care.
Thank you for watching the official news source of the retail automotive industry, CBT News. Today's show is brought to you by the Joe Verdi Group,